Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Ascot Racecourse here on Wednesday. It's the 17th of June, 2020. Gonna look at almost all the races here on day 2 of Royal Ascot, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me throughout the week for some more Royal Ascot previews, and join me Saturday for my Belmont Stakes preview. But it's a good card today from Ascot. We won't be looking at the 6th race, 410, the Windsor Castle. It's a very tough 2-year-old race, and I just think it's a little bit too early for me to handicap this race, and I just wouldn't feel confident giving out a tip, my integrity with that one. So we'll be looking at the other 6 races. Let's get to it. The 115, the opener, here on Wednesday's program from Ascot. The 115, the first race from Ascot, it is the Silver Royal Hunt Cup. It's a Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $46,500, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 22 horses entered to go down the straightaway, 1,600 meters or a mile on the Ascot turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile turf course, and I show the diagram, just gives me a second to look down my notes, just bear with me, sorry I'm stupid, I can't do 2 things at the same time. And also it de-stresses me during these videos. I get very stressed out doing them sometimes, but since this is a very wide open race, I'm going to give you 2 horses that I think can win. Most definitely could do an each way or do a forecast exacta box here, but most definitely use them both on the place pot. The 2 horses I'll be using here are going to be the number 13 horse, who is, as my iPad craps out like usual during these big videos, the 13 horse Nicolaus, and I also use the number 15 horse here, Uzo. So 13, 15, we'll start off with the number 13 horse Nicolaus. This a 5-year-old gelding by Exceeding Excel. William Haggis trains. Tom Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 25th of September here over at Newmarket on good ground, 1 mile in a Class 2 handicap, and he finished third by 4.5 lengths there. He had a high weight of 136 pounds, which I think cost him late. He was with them early on. He just couldn't quicken up like the rest of them. Like I said, a high weight got to him, carrying 4 less pounds off the break down a 1 mile straightaway. I'm going to give him another shot. He likes to straightaway. I don't know if he likes to bend so much. 2 back at Chelmsford around the bend, 1 mile in a handicap Class 2. He finished second by 3/4 length, and he was with them early on. Kind of hit the wall late, but I've seen a lot worse races, and I've seen a lot better races. And then before that, an absolute crap race at Glorious Goodwood, July 30th, mile and a quarter in a handicap Class 2 event. He finished 15th by 6.5 lengths there, and he didn't break all that well, and he just wasn't getting the mile and a quarter. His better trip is a mile. He's cutting back to it today. He loves the 1 mile straightaway. He can handle a small give in the ground, which I think you'll see today. It's good to soft right now. It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be a good ground by by later in the day. But he should handle the going. He's drawn very well. He has a good weight of 132 pounds. At 12-1, let's give him a shot. Along with the number 15 horse Uzo, 5-1 here. Ryan Moore's on this one. 4-year-old colt by Charm Spirit. Richard Hannon trains this one. The horse's most recent outing came in a Class 2 handicap over at Newmarket on the 7th of June. 1 mile there, and he finished second by a neck behind Bell Rock. And this horse, was a little bit, just couldn't quicken up until very late in the competition. A little traffic trouble, but he really closed up well late. Off the break, I thought he ran in terrific race. 2 back in the handicap at Hampton, 1 mile on November the 19th. He finished 5th by 3 lengths there, and again, was just never really comfortable there. A little bit wide, which I think cost him. And then before that, over at Newmarket on the 1st of November, soft ground, 1 mile in a handicap, finished 4th by 2.5 lengths there, and he just wasn't going on that very soft ground. It was rated soft, but it was the heavier side of soft. But he's coming here to Ascot for the first time. I like him on the stand side. I think that's where the best part of the ground was yesterday. Let's give him a shot here at 5-1. So to recap my selections for today's first race from Ascot, it is the 115. It also is the Silver Royal Hunt Cup. I'm going to take the number 13 horse here, who is Nicolaus. We'll also use the 15 horse Ozo. 13-15. We'll definitely use some exacta forecast combinations, but most definitely use them both in the place pot. Let's get to the second race, the 150 from Ascot. The 150, the second race from Ascot, it is the Group 3 Hampton Court Stakes. It's a Group 3 event going for a purse of $80,000, race for 3-year-olds only. We have a field of 8 horses going to the turf course, a distance of ground of 2,000 meters, or the mile and a quarter trip on the turf course. 2,000 meters, a mile and a quarter, Ascot turf course. My top selection here, we're going to go as a top selection with the 1 horse Berlin Tango. We'll go 183 in the tri-cash trifecta. 183 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 1 horse Berlin Tango. 3-year-old colt by Dansville. Andrew Balding trains when Ocean Murphy gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 3rd of June at Kempton, a mile and a quarter in the Group 3 Classic Trial, and he won by 1/4 lengths and at 7-1. He opened my eyes that they didn't bet him, but he stalked early on. He got a great trip around the bend, quickened up nicely with the long straightaway, and went away with it. off the little bit of a refreshing. That was a very good run. Something I like about him, he has starts this year, which I think is good. A lot of these horses are coming off of some 8-month breaks, which I think they're going to need a race. He already had, this is going to be his third start of the year. Two back, he ran and the Road to the Kentucky Derby Condition Stakes at Hampton, 1 mile and marched to fourth, and he finished second by 1/4 lengths. He wasn't 100% fresh that day, but he was carrying a little bit of a high weight, but he did quicken up a little bit that day. He stayed the trip well. Going to a mono quarter should really be up his alley. Back to turf, can handle a little given the ground. I'm going to expect him to run a good race. His last race on the lawn came in the Scotsman Stakes at Doncaster, going 7 furlongs in September, where he finished third by 1/4 lengths. And again, he was mowing them down late. He was staying the trip even before that Salisbury in listed stakes. He was staying the trip that afternoon. Like him a lot, he's drawn very well at 5-1. Let's use him. Second likeliest winner is the 8-horse Russian Emperor. He ran most recently the Derby Trial at Leopardstown a few weeks ago, where he finished second by half length, and as a favorite, he just couldn't quicken up late. It just wasn't his day to win. But before that, in March at Naas, he won a main race very nicely, and his debut at the Curragh last summer, I think he needed the race for the experience. But with every single race, he just looks better. And at 4-1, I think he's also a horse to get a piece of it. So use him on the place pod. But to recap my selection for the second, the 150 from Ascot is the Group 3 Hampton Court Stakes. Let's take the 1-horse Berlin Tango. We'll also give kudos to the 8-horse Russian Emperor. And we'll go 1-8-3 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. Before I go any further, I know I give out trifectas here, and I know the trifecta is probably the least popular wager in the UK. I give it out because basically that's my top 3. So I always get that comment here and there throughout Royal Ascot, Cheltenham, and all these big days. Why do you give Tricast out? They're not popular. It's basically my top 3, so you can do whatever you want with those numbers, but that's how I think the race will suit up. So 1-8-3. Let's get to the third race, the 2. Race number 3, the 225 from Ascot. It is the King George V Handicap's Class 2 handicap, going for a purse of $80,000. Race for 3-year-olds only. Horses rated 0 to 105. 18 horses are going the distance of ground of 2,400 meters, or a mile and a half on the turf course. 1 mile, 1/2 Ascot turf course. The top selection here, we're going to go with the, same like the 115, the first race. I'll give you 2 horses that I think can win. The 2 horses we'll be using is the 4-horse Convict and also the 16-horse Group 1 Power. So 4, 16, exact forecast combinations, but most definitely in the place pot you can use them. But we'll start off with the 4-horse Convict, 3-year-old colt by Australia. William Haggas trains. Tar Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent out came 23rd of October at Newmarket on soft ground. Mile and a quarter in a handicap Class 2 event. He won by 4 lengths that day, and he outstayed those horses early, a mile and a quarter at the end of 2-year-old campaign. Horses either handle it or don't. This horse definitely handled it. He quickened up nicely from a starting position and just went away with it. Very, very easy run. Probably could have won by more. Mile and a half here off the break shouldn't be a problem. I think he should really get a good race. Also, the ground shouldn't be a problem. 2 back, he ran the 12th of October at York, 1 mile in a Class 2 handicap, a nursery handicap. He finished second by a nose there, and he was sat back early, had a really good turn of foot. He just missed late, but he did everything right there. And then before that, maiden race at Redcar, 7 furlongs to the 25th. He won by 2 1/4 lengths there, and it took him 3 starts to break the maiden. But that afternoon, he was with the leading pair, quickened up nicely off the front end, and just went away with it. Very good run. His first 2 races, one at York and one at Newbury. The novice race at York was just a disaster, where he finished 6 by 17 1/4 lengths, and he just really had a horrible trip. Go watch the replay. It's so hard to explain, especially as a 2-1 favorite. And then the debut where he lost a quadrilateral at Newbury. That afternoon he just never really got anywhere. But with every single race he's been improving. Mile and a half he's bred for it. He's run very well. Let's give him a shot with the 16-horse Group 1 Power. Sylvester de Sousa is on this one for Andrew Balding, 3-year-old colt by Lupe de Vega. The horse's most recent out came 3rd of June over at Yarmouth on firm ground, a mile and a quarter in a handicap. He finished 4th by 3 lengths there, and he just he closed up a little bit that day, but he wasn't 100% fresh. He's the kind of horse he needed that race. Second off the break, again, a longer trip, and drawn very well, setting closer on this turf course. I think he can really run a good race. 2 back, he ran the 22nd of February at Linkfield, 1 mile in a novice race, and he won by a length there. And again, he had the high weight. He was the horse to beat, and nobody beat him at 80 cents a dollar with 135 pounds on him. Quickened up nicely on the front end, went away with it. And then over at Hampton, 1 mile maiden race, he won by a neck. Again, he was much the best. Good thing about it in today's gets a good posture. Also, it gets a very good low weight, only carrying 113 pounds, which I think is a very competitive weight in this race. At 10 to 1, watch out for him at the finish. So to recap my selection for the third from Ascot, the 225 is King George V Handicap. Let's use the 4-horse Convict. We'll also use the 16-horse Group 1 Power. 416 here. Like I said, using both in exact forecast combinations and most definitely in the place pot. Let's get to the featured fourth race, the 3 o'clock, the fourth race from Ascot. It is the Group 1 Prince of Wales Stakes. It's Group 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $332,500, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses entered to go the distance of ground of 2,000 meters, with a distance of ground of 1.25 miles on the Ascot turf course. 2,000 meters, 1.25 miles turf course. The top selection, my best bet of the day, I'm going to go to the 3-horse Barney Roy. We'll go 315 in the trifecta. 315 trifecta. Top selection, 3-horse Barney Roy. 6-year-old Gellenbach Celebration. Charlie Appleby trains. William Buick gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 7th of March at Maidan. 1,800 meters. Mile 8th in the Group 1 Jebel Hada. You should have been the local prep race for the Dubai Duty Free, but there was no duty free. But that afternoon, the horse won by 1 3/4 lengths, and he sat back early, slowly moved his way up, and when he got to the front end, quickened up easily, went away with it. That was a very easy race, didn't even get to the bottom. I think on World Cup night he would have been hard to beat, but here off the break since then, back to the UK, back to Ascot, where he's run decent races in the past. I'm going to give him a massive shot. 2 back in the 30th of January at Maidan, 1 mile and 8th in the Al Rashida. He won by 2 1/4 lengths, and again, slowly moved his way up, quickened up easily, didn't even get the whip. Basically, that was a very good comeback race. And then before that, he ran here in the Queen Anne last year here at Ascot, down the mile, and he finished 8th by 5 lengths, and that's the favorite. He just never really quickened up, but never weakened out of it either. Maybe the large field got to him. I think he's the kind of horse, he does better when he's in smaller fields. And then before that, he ran a long champ in the Prix de la Martroute over the mile trip, pardon my French. He won by a half length, and again, he was just much the best. That was something the English-based runners the last few seasons have been great at, going to France and winning those listed stakes in these Group 3s. When he won that listed stakes, he kept the momentum going for those English-based runners there. And then before that, he ran the Paradise Stakes here at Ascot last season over the mile trip, finished second by a neck. His first start in nearly 2 years behind Zaki, who won next to that. He ran a terrific race. Before that, he ran here at Ascot in October 2017 in the Champion Stakes, where he just really had a horrible trip, getting beat by Cracksman, who won next to that, and getting beat by Highland Real, Poet's Word. That was a very tough quality group. He just wasn't 100% fresh. After that, he was actually supposed to get go into the breeding shed, but problems with breeding, they couldn't go with their plan, so they gelded him, brought him back, and I think since he came back, he's been a really good horse. But if you look at his 3-year-old campaign, placed in the Guineas behind Churchill, then came back to win the St. James Palace over the round mile here, and then came back to place in the Eclipse behind Ulysses, and then placed in the Juddmonte International behind Ulysses and Churchill. So he had a great 3-year-old campaign. Coming here today, drawn very well, 5 to 1 over the 1.25 miles. I think he's sitting on a great race. So let's take him. He's going to be my best bet of the day. I think Japan is a very, very vulnerable favorite, and I cannot stress that enough. I think he get a place here, but I think Barney Roy is a better win plays, a win kind of horse. So to recap my selection for the fourth, the 3 o'clock from Ascot, it is the Group 1 $332,000 Prince of Wales Stakes. Let's take the 3-horse of Barney Roy. We'll go 315 in the trifecta. Let's get to the 335, the 5th race. The 335, the 5th race from Royal Ascot. It is the Royal Hunt Cup. It's Class 2 handicap, going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 23 horses, a cavalry, going down the straightaway. The distance of ground is 1,600 meters, or a mile on the turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile turf course. Again, very wide open race. I'll give you 2 horses that I think can win, but I'm going to give you an exact order this time of who I think is going to win. So I'm going to be a little ballsy here. But the 2 horses I like in exact order, I'm going to first use the number 13 horse, who is, again, I don't know. The smaller handicaps, the iPad works, but during these big races, it doesn't work. But the first horse we'll be using here will be the number 13 horse, Willie John. We'll also use the number 4 horse, who is a Vale of Kent. So 314 for me. I'm definitely going to do an exacta straightaway here, or exacta straight forecast, but I'm most definitely going to use him also in the place pod. But we'll start off with 13 horse Willie John. This 5-year-old horse by Dancel. Roger Varian trains. Andre Tassini gets the mount. Most recently, the horse ran the 11th of September at Doncaster, a mile and a quarter and a novice race, and he finished 5th by 5 1/4 lengths there. He was with them early on. He kind of hit the wall late, never quickened up. I think back to a mile for the first time ever should really suit him well. He's either run 7 furlongs or a mile and a quarter at the minimum, never in the between. I think that between distance is something he's been crying out for. 2 back, he ran here on the 18th of June at Ascot of 2019, a mile and a quarter in the Wolferton Stakes. He finished 14th by 18.5 lengths there, and he had absolutely nothing. He beat 2 horses home, just couldn't keep up with the better horses there. And then before that at Goodwood on the 25th of May and the Festival Stakes, he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths there. And he just really, he wanted to go. David Egan didn't want to let him go, and I think that cost him late because he just didn't have a lot left in the tank. And then before that, a conditions race at Doncaster, mile and a half, March 31st, finished 4th by 1 3/4 lengths behind Red Verdun. Actually won this past Sunday at Doncaster, so he loves the course. This horse just really couldn't keep up there off the break. Like I said, mile and a quarter and a mile and a half, way too long for him. 7 furlongs, maybe a little bit too short. 1 mile, that's the one the bear wants. So at 15 to 1, we'll definitely use him to the mile trip. Now I'm definitely going to do a little small each way on him. We'll also use the 4-horse Vale of Kent, this 5-year-old given by Kodiak here. Mark Johnston's trained as one. Joe Fannin gets the mount. Most recently, his horse ran the Paradise Stakes at Newmarket over the mile trip on the 5th of June. He finished 3rd by 4.5 lengths there, and he broke horribly that day, which I think hampered his chances because he wasn't near near the front end like he normally was. And but he stayed the trip well. Coming here, hopefully breaking. I expect him to have a good race. 2 back, he ran the Chelmsford City Cup Class 2 Handicap on the 31st of August over the 7 furlong trip, and he finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths there, and he was with them early on. He kind of got caught late, but he didn't get caught so bad where the horse just gets, he hit the wall. I think he just got bet by the horses who had just had a little lower weight. The horse had 127 pounds who won, so he did have lower weight, but he didn't run half bad. A week earlier in the Clipper Logistics Handicap Class 2 event at York over the mile trip, he finished 2nd by a head, and again, it was with him early on. He lost a head bob to What's the Story, but again, he still ran a terrific race. And then the handicap at Goodwood, the Golden Mile handicap, he over the mile trip, he finished 2nd by a length. Again, he just couldn't keep the momentum going on the front end. He's probably going to get sent to the front end. They're going to try and take his speed as long as he can. He ran here in this race last year where he finished 7th by 20 by 2.5 lengths, and I thought he ran decently that day, but he still could have improved. But I'm going to take him here. His most recent form hasn't been half bad, but the key with him, he'll have to break. But it's very good Royal Hunt Cup this year. So to recap my selection for the 5th, the 335, the Royal Hunt Cup, we'll use as a top selection the number 13 horse here, Willie John. We'll also give kudos to the 4-horse Vale of Kent, 314. Make sure you use them both in the place pod. Now, like I said earlier, the 410, the 6th race, it's to Windsor Castle. A lot of these horses are making their second start here, and the form, I just can't give out a selection here. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. My integrity, I don't want to ruin that. But if you want a slight hint, I do think the Sunshine City horse for Wesley Ward will be very overbet, and I don't think that's the better of his two. I think the better of his two is Sheriff Bianco, who's 7 to 1, so he'll get a slightly better price. I think his most recent race wasn't half bad, and his workout patterns I do like, so make sure you use him. If you want my slight thought, I would use Sheriff Bianco in the Windsor Castle, but that's a race I'm just going to watch as a fan, basically, and not wager on. So we're going to head over to the nightcap, the 7th race, 440 from Ascot. The nightcap, the 7th race, the 440 from Ascot. It is the Copper Horse Handicaps, Class 2 handicap, going for a purse $46,500. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Horses rated 0 to 105. We have a field of 16 horses going the distance of ground of 2,800 meters, or a mile 3/4, staying on the turf course. 2,800 meters, a mile 3/4 here in the Copper Horse Handicap. Top selection here. We're going to use the 6-horse Shailene. We'll also give kudos to the number 11 horse Ranch Hand. So we'll go 6-11 here. Exact forecast combinations, but most definitely in the place pod. But we'll start off with the 6-horse Shailene, 5-year-old mare by Rip Van Winkle. So it's the mare taking on the boys, but I think she can get the job done. Andrew Balding trains. Sylvester D'Souza gets the mount. Most recently, the horse ran the 7th of June in the Pinnacle Stakes at Haydock. Soft ground, a mile 7:16. She finished 4th by 6.5 lengths there behind Manuel De Vega, who just ran that better race, and Fanny Logan. She just needed the race off the break. But this horse, was stalking early on. She quickened up a little bit that day. I think she wants a slightly longer trip, but I thought she ran decently off the break. Second off, she should be even fresher, drawn very well, should handle the given ground. I think she's sitting on a very good run. Two back in the Group 3 Princess Royal Marere Stakes at Newmarket, a mile and a half, December the 27th, and pardon the pronunciation of that last race. She finished 4th by 14.5 lengths there, and she didn't break all that well, and she was just never really comfortable there. The race before, though, in a Class 2 handicap over at Newbury, a mile and a half, she won by a half length, had a high weight, but she stalked, she got the lead, and then she went away with it easy. Very, very good run. She has run at the distance once. That came over at Goodwood last summer in a Class 2 handicap where she finished 3rd by 1.75 lengths, and it took her a little time to quicken up, but she was quickening up late. I thought she ran decently there with a good weight, but she's making her Ascot debut. She's drawn well. I think she wants the longer trip, especially off that last run. She wants the longer trip. 10-1, let's use her, along with the number 11 horse here, Ranch Hand. 4-year-old gelding here, Andrew Balding trains one. David Prober gets on this one. So we have the Andrew Balding double here, but most recently a horse ran the Cesarewitch at Newmarket, October the 12th, over the 4,000 meters, or excuse me, 3,600 meters, or the 2.25 mile trip, and the horse ran horribly as favorite, finished 15th by 33.25 lengths there, and just stalked early on, but then he hit the wall, just couldn't keep the 2.25 miles, cutting back to the 1.75 today. I think that's much better, because he did win at the trip at Haydock, 2-back, in a handicap Class 2 event where he won by 2 lengths. He stalked, he got the lead, and then he just held on to a very easy victory. Before that, they ran him the Bahrain Trophy, where over the mile 5/8 at Newmarket on the July course, where he finished 5th by 11.5 lengths. It was a very tough Bahrain Trophy this year. The winner, Spanish Moon, went on to run here in America and run a terrific race to win the Belmont Jockey Club Derby. But this horse, he just really was struggling that day. The horses handle the July course or don't. He definitely didn't. And then before the Linkfield Derby trial, he finished 5th by 7.75 lengths there, and he was moving a little bit that day. Off of that run, he probably won a longer trip, and he did, because when he got it, he quickened up easily at Haydock to win. But back to a longer trip again. Off the break, 8-1, let's use him. So to recap my selections for the 7th, the 440, the nightcap from Ascot, it is the Copper Horse Handicap. Let's use the 6-horse Shailene. We'll also use the 11-horse Ranch Hand. 6-11 here in the forecast exacta. Single luck 12. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 and join me throughout the week for some more Royal Ascot previews. Good luck, everybody.